talk about the history of the United States. Where does the story really begin?
It doesn't start in 1492 or 1776. It starts thousands of years earlier with the original inhabitants of this land, the indigenous peoples. Today, we're going to take a journey across the continent to understand the incredible diversity, rich history, and enduring resilience of Native American and Alaska Native nations. It's crucial to understand that there is no single Native American culture. Before European contacts, this land was home to hundreds of distinct nations, each with its own language, social structure, and spiritual traditions. To make sense of this incredible diversity, anthropologists often group them into cultural regions based on shared environments and ways of life.
Let's start way up north, into the Arctic.
Here, the Iñupiat and Yupik peoples of Alaska developed ingenious ways to thrive in one of the planet's harshest environments.
Their lives were traditionally centered around the sea, depending on whaling, sealing, and fishing for survival. Their knowledge of the ice and sea is a science refined over millennia. Just south of them, in the vast interior forests of Alaska and Canada, live the Subarctic Athabaskan peoples, also known as the Dene. They were masterful hunters and trappers, adapted to the boreal forest ecosystem.
Moving down to the Pacific Northwest coast, we find groups like the Tlingit, Haida, and
This region is famous for its stunning artwork. Think of the towering totem poles, which are intricate family histories carved into massive cedar trees. These societies were built on the abundance of salmon, which supported large,
settled villages with impressive cedar longhouses and complex social hierarchies.
California was, and still is, one of the most linguistically and culturally diverse areas in North America.
Groups like the Yurok Pomo and Chumash developed sophisticated land stewardship practices,
carefully managing the environment to ensure a bounty of resources like acorns, fish, and game.
Their deep connection to the land was a form of active cultivation.
Heading inland, we enter the Great Basin, a challenging, arid environment between the Sierra Nevada and Rocky Mountains. Here, the Shoshone, Paiute, and Ute peoples mastered the art of adaptation.
They lived in smaller, mobile family groups, moving with the seasons to hunt and gather the sparse resources of the high desert.
Their resilience is a testament to their deep ecological knowledge.
The Southwest is home to some of the most iconic and ancient cultures.
The Pueblo peoples, like the Hopi and Zuni, have lived in their ancestral villages for over 1,000 years.
Their multi-story adobe architecture is legendary,
as is their intricate pottery and deep agricultural traditions, especially the cultivation of corn, beans, and squash. They are joined in the region by the Navajo or Dene, known for their beautiful weaving and silver, and the Apache, renowned for their endurance and strategic skill.
When you think of Native Americans, many people picture the plains.
This image was shaped by groups
like the Lakota, Dakota, and Nakota, collectively known as the Sioux, as well as the Cheyenne, Comanche, and Blackfeet. Their culture was revolutionized by the reintroduction of the horse, which allowed them to become master bison hunters.
living a nomadic lifestyle in their iconic
Their societies were built around the bison, which provided everything from food and shelter to tools and clothing.
In the forests of the Northeast, we find the Eastern Woodlands peoples.
Among the most famous is the Haudenosaunee, or the Iroquois Confederacy.
A powerful political alliance of 6 nations, the Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and later, the Tuscarora.
Their system of governance actually influenced the framers of the U.S. Constitution. Other groups like the Wampanoag, Pequot,
and Ojibwe thrived through a mix of forest agriculture, hunting, and gathering. Finally, in the southeast, we have nations like the Cherokee, Muskogee, Choctaw, Chickasaw, and Tsimshian in U.S. historical documents.
They were often called the Five Civilized Tribes because they adopted certain customs of their white neighbors.
Like written constitutions and farming methods.
They built large, sophisticated towns and had complex agricultural societies.
Now, let's talk about what it means to be a tribe in the U.S. today. There are currently 574 federally recognized tribes. This recognition is incredibly important.
It means these tribes are sovereign nations. They have a government-to-government relationship with the United States, managing their own laws, lands, and people.
There are dozens of state-recognized tribes and many more groups who are still fighting for that official recognition, seeking to reclaim their rightful status.
Language is the lifeblood of culture. And before contact, over 300 distinct indigenous languages were spoken across this land. Colonial policies, especially forced assimilation in boarding schools, were designed to stamp out these languages.
For generations, children were punished for speaking their mother tongue.
But today, there is a powerful movement of language. Nations like the Navajo, Cherokee, Lakota, and Ojibwe are leading the way, using immersion schools, apps, and community programs to bring their languages back to future generations. The history of indigenous peoples in America is a story of deep time. Archaeological sites like Cahokia, a massive city near modern-day St. Louis, with a population larger than London in its time, prove the existence of complex civilizations, vast trade networks, and advanced agriculture long before Europeans arrived.
The arrival of Europeans brought catastrophic changes.
Diseases to which native people had no immunity wiped out entire populations.
This was followed by centuries of land seizure warfare and forced removals like the infamous Trail of Tears.
Where the Cherokee and other Southeastern nations were forcibly marched from their ancestral homelands to territory in the West, a journey that cost thousands of lives. The U.S. government then implemented assimilation policies. The goal was to erase indigenous identity. Boarding schools were a primary tool, separating children from their families and forcing them to abandon their cultures, languages, and spiritual beliefs. The motto was, "Kill the Indian, save the man." This created deep intergenerational trauma that communities are still healing from today.
But this history is not just one of tragedy. It's also a story of survival and resurgence.
Starting in the mid-20th century, the era of self-determination began. Activists fought for their rights, and tribes began to reclaim their political and cultural autonomy.
This movement continues to grow stronger every day.
Today, indigenous communities are vibrant and forward-looking. They are at the forefront of major contemporary issues. They fight for land rights and the protection of their sovereignty. They are leaders in the environmental stewardship movement, using traditional ecological knowledge to protect our planet. We see growing political representation in Congress and state legislatures, and a flourishing of native art, music, literature, and film.
According to the 2020 census, over 9.7 million people in the U.S. identify as American Indian or Alaska Native, either alone or in combination with another race.
The story of the indigenous peoples of the United States is not a closed chapter of history.
It is a living, breathing story of resilience, innovation, and strength. Learning this history is essential to understanding the full story of America. Thank you so much for watching.
If you found this video informative, please give it a like, share it with others, and subscribe for more content.
See you next time.